Even today, the horrific death of Thomas Becket is discussed by thousands of people around the world. It is constantly studied in classrooms, universities, and scholarly journals. That it happened at such a hallowed medieval place like Canterbury Cathedral adds to the wonder people have with his miserable murder. Now, centuries later, we still ask ourselves what was the history of Canterbury Cathedral and what was Thomas Becket's connection to this remarkable building. Hello everyone, my name is Craig, host of Medieval to Modern, where we feature often overlooked knowledge from civilization's medieval ages in an interesting yet compact manner. After presenting another fascinating episode of history, we will reveal the Medieval to Modern top 8 of intriguing facts about Canterbury Cathedral and Thomas Becket. Thank you for joining us. To answer those questions, we will first share more information about this medieval cathedral located in the English county of Kent. Today, Canterbury Cathedral is among the most visited places in England. As for knowledge, this majestic structure has silently witnessed centuries of British history. There are few buildings on this planet that come close to a living thing, and Canterbury Cathedral is truly one of them. Canterbury Cathedral was already a sacred location before the Romans arrived in 43 AD. This modern site of worship was established when Pope Gregory sent St. Augustine in the year 596 AD to eliminate paganism. Soon after, in 597, the first in a line of successive building projects was established. When a destructive fire occurred in 1067, there was a need to completely rebuild the cathedral. Therefore, in the year 1070, construction began under Archbishop Lanfranc, finishing in 1077. Canterbury Cathedral is the location for the Anglican Archbishop of Canterbury, religious leader of the Church of England. With the martyrdom of Thomas Becket on December 29, 1170 in the northwest transept, it truly became a pilgrimage destination known throughout Europe. Canterbury Cathedral and Thomas Becket are bonded together as much as a person and place could possibly be. Though before he became a saint, he was not known to be a pious person. Thomas Becket, born on 21st December 1119 to a well-off Norman merchant family residing in London, was an ambitious man in his earlier adult years. In the year 1154, after previously completing studies for the priesthood in England and France, Thomas Becket became Archdeacon of Canterbury. This began his enduring association with Canterbury Cathedral. It soon became apparent that this tall, thin, dark-haired man had natural leadership abilities with a formidable appetite for debate and knowledge. When his qualities reached the ear of King Henry II, the monarch appointed Thomas Becket as Chancellor of England in 1155. To the king's great pleasure, his chancellor's brilliant administrative skills served him well, leading to a strong bond of friendship between them. King Henry II eagerly wished to have the Church obey his laws in a similar fashion to other institutions within his realm. When Archbishop of Canterbury Theobald of Bec passed away in 1161, he counted on his close relationship with Thomas Becket to accomplish the same, though his friend forewarned the king when he said, start of quote, "I know your plans for the Church. You will assert claims which I, if I were Archbishop, must needs oppose." End of quote. King Henry II paid little attention to his friend's words. He went ahead with his plan to place Thomas Becket into the second most important position of his realm. Upon his appointment to Archbishop of Canterbury on the 24th of May 1162, Thomas Becket devoted all of his skills and energy to this new position. Soon, the new Archbishop displayed the same vigor and responsibility with which he performed previous appointments. Consecrated as a bishop on June the 3rd, Thomas Becket's taste for finer things and material indulgences had completely changed towards pious pursuits. Fasting, wearing hair shirts, and prayer became his new devotions. He had a strong resolve to protect the Church, which put his relationship with King Henry II under increasing strain. It was only a short matter of time before they were no longer friendly with each other. In the year 1164, their strained relationship reached a critical point. The king, set on achieving increased influence over the Church, attempted to pass legislative procedures called the Constitutions of Clarendon. These procedures detailed how the state would limit church privileges, the power of church courts, and restrictions to papal authority in England. These articles included how clergymen could be tried not only by the Church, which usually gave light sentences, but also the state for serious offenses. This was only to happen after being found guilty by the Church, where the clergymen would be unfrocked before being tried in a lay court for punishment. Here was a position Thomas Becket had agreed with while Chancellor, so when pressured at this time to follow through, he consented to these procedures. Then he soon recanted after the Pope expressed disapproval with the Constitutions of Clarendon. Now, Thomas Becket said he was of the strong opinion that this existing custom of the Church, judging its own clergy, should remain in place. The angry monarch, who was known to possess a forceful temper, was infuriated over this dispute with his former close ally. That October, Thomas Becket appeared before a great council, convicted on charges of contempt and failure to properly conduct public duties according to law. Sensing danger, he fled the court in England. King Louis VII of France offered protection in his domain, though King Henry II still pursued him, even sending approximately 400 of Thomas Becket's friends and relations into exile. In 1167, Pope Alexander III intervened, sending out papal arbitrators to act in the fierce dispute. By the year 1170, Pope Alexander III, growing impatient while waiting for an agreement, imposed his own solution, sending delegates to carry it out. At that time, King Henry II created a compromise, allowing Thomas Becket to return after 6 years of exile. Unfortunately, this temporary peace was short-lived. On June the 14th, King Henry II commanded the Archbishop of York, a known foe of the Archbishop of Canterbury, to crown the heir apparent, Henry the Young King. This act by the king violated existing custom by which the Archbishop of Canterbury performed coronations. As a result, Thomas Becket excommunicated the bishops involved in November of 1170. He returned to Canterbury on December the 1st, where he was received. When King Henry II heard of these excommunications, he was furious with rage. According to contemporary biographer Edward Grimm, the king made the following remark, start of quote, "What miserable drones and traitors have I nourished and brought up in my household, who let their lord be treated with such shameful contempt by a low-born cleric." End of quote. It was these or similar words from King Henry II's lips which brought on the greatest tragedy committed at Canterbury Cathedral. 4 knights of the court, Reginald Fitzurse, Hugh de Morville, William de Tracy, and Richard le Breton, took the king's words as a direct command. What followed would be remembered for centuries thereafter. On December the 29th, these 4 knights reached Canterbury. When they arrived at the cathedral, they tried to arrest Thomas Becket and bring him to Winchester. However, the Archbishop would not yield to their demand. Undeterred, they later returned, spotting the Archbishop as he entered the cathedral. When they demanded where the traitor was, Thomas Becket replied, start of quote, "Here I am, no traitor, but Archbishop and priest of God." End of quote. Angered by his refusal to come with them, the confrontation turned violent. As the Archbishop clung to a column, William de Tracy landed the first blow with his sword, then the others followed. They cut down Thomas Becket in this gruesome fashion as he stood utterly defenseless. Surprised by their own savagery, they fled after committing this horrific deed. King Henry II did not arrest these knights for their murder. As for the monarch, after pressure from the Pope for atonement, he attempted to make peace with Thomas Becket. He was also prompted by increasing discontent in his country. So, on July the 12th, 1174, years after Thomas Becket's murder, he walked barefoot into Canterbury Cathedral, prostrating himself at Thomas Becket's shrine. He then spent the evening in prayer and penitence at his tomb. Pilgrimages to Canterbury Cathedral have been occurring for centuries before Thomas Becket's death because of its historic religious importance. After Thomas Becket's death, people regarded him as a martyr and defender of the church. Soon, many more pilgrims came to this site, though they had to prepare in body and mind before this sacred visit. After fasting overnight and confessing sins to a priest, they began their pilgrimage. Upon arrival at Canterbury Cathedral, pilgrims were blessed with holy water by a priest or monk. It is assumed that most people went first to the main shrine of Thomas Becket, located in Trinity Chapel, where his body lay from the year 1220 onwards. Before this translation, it lay at a marble tomb in the crypt. With so much attention, caution had to be exercised. Monks at the time, fearful the body may be stolen, placed it beneath the floor of the crypt. A stone protecting slab was placed over this area with 2 holes for pilgrims to place their heads while kissing the tomb. In total, there were 4 key shrines connected to Thomas Becket at this site. Of these locations, the Martyrdom Chapel was where Thomas Becket was murdered. Here, a small reliquary contained the sword piece that cut into his head. The floor stones were said to show Thomas Becket's last footprints and were also kissed by pilgrims. Men and women made vows to go on these pilgrimages to his shrine, which in the ensuing decades had a reputation as a place of healing. With Henry VIII and his dissolution of the monasteries, these pilgrimages decreased dramatically. The shrine was destroyed in 1538 under King Henry VIII's Reformation. After the tragedy of Thomas Becket's murder in 1170, Canterbury Cathedral continued to evolve. In 1174, rebuilding began after another destructive fire under the French architect William of Sens. When he died as a result of a fall from a scaffold, his successor William the Englishman managed the rebuild. He completed Trinity Chapel, a shrine to house the relics for St. Thomas Becket. This shrine became a destination for pilgrims from across Europe. Today, the stately Canterbury Cathedral is in need of care and constant upkeep. There are areas of damaged, crumbling stonework to repair, along with beautiful stained glass to protect. The culprits for this deterioration include pollution and weather over centuries of its proud existence. Conservation efforts are ongoing to identify those features which need to be repaired or replaced, both outside and inside inside the cathedral. With such dedicated care, we are confident that Canterbury Cathedral will retain its magnificence for centuries to come. Which brings us to that time at which we will share the Medieval to Modern top 8 of intriguing facts about Canterbury Cathedral and St. Thomas Becket. As our viewers know, we believe knowledge is ageless as well as enjoyable. Now, we shall present them all for your learning pleasure. Number 1. Pilgrims came to Canterbury Cathedral because they heard that hundreds of miracles occurred at the main shrine of St. Thomas of Canterbury. There were 703 recorded by monks within a decade of St. Thomas Becket's death. Number 2. Canterbury Cathedral is part of a UNESCO World Heritage Site. Number 3. After centuries of reconstruction and expansion, it took until the year 1834 for Canterbury Cathedral to exist in its present form. Number 4. Since many in the Middle Ages could not read, the stained glasses at Canterbury Cathedral communicated in pictures to them. These images in the stained glasses represented various lessons for the masses to learn. Number 5. St. Thomas Becket was canonized on the 21st of February 1173 by Pope Alexander III. Number 6. With daily costs in recent years estimated at £18,000, resources to ensure Canterbury Cathedral remains an important historic destination are constantly required and appreciated. Number 7. Only one king is buried inside Canterbury Cathedral, King Henry IV. Number 8. Canterbury Cathedral had among the first running water supplies in medieval England, created by Prior Wiber around 1165. Thank you for supporting us at Medieval to Modern. Please be sure to watch our next weekly episode or one shown at the end of this video. Also, be sure to like, subscribe, comment, and spread the word about this channel so we can create more exciting content. I wish you good tidings as we remember that sharing knowledge has been a noble deed throughout the ages.